How's it going, everybody? I mean, it's going really well. Bottom line, it's going really well. I don't even need to ask. Thanks for joining us here at Emerald City Hockey Postgame Live after that incredible win, brought to you by Queen Anne Beer Hall. I mean, RJ, 7-2. Anytime you get a win like that, it's feel good time. There's nothing else about it. I mean, the Kraken just dominating in this game the way that I feel like a lot of us thought they might last game against a really banged up Nashville team. But in this one, I mean, it was just up and down the lineup. Everybody was feeling it. Philip Grubauer's back. He played a good game. We'll get to him, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, I mean, it was just firing on all cylinders. 7-2. I mean, the team's back.
Yeah. I think the score was definitely indicative of the play, and the Kraken finally broke through. And it did take a little while too. Last game, they only scored one goal. Felt like they kind of deserved better after the chances that they generated. And they came out in the first period. This one generated a ton of great chances, maybe their most dominant period ever. You could make the argument. And then by the time the third period rolls around, they're finally able to consistently beat Saros, put 7 on him, and end a lot of goal droughts for some players too. I mean, like Matty Beniers, huge one for him to get one. Oliver Bjorkstrand continuing his great run of play. Just everybody's got to be feeling good after that one.
Yep. Jared McCann and his quest to get to 40 before the season's up too, right? Picking up another one. It was a lot. And yeah, Coop starting us off 50-point score, Matty B baby. I mean, Matty Beniers gets to 20 goals. That's a nice milestone for him. 50 points. That's a really good milestone. And it was like, I'll be honest, after that first period, which the Kraken are up 2-0 and they've only allowed one shot on goal, I think had more negative things to say about the Kraken than positive, just because I was like, where's the top 6? The power play is really bad. Like we need to get going. And the bottom line is by the end of the third period, all of the issues I had, all the worries I had, for the most part, completely alleviated. Everybody was back. Everybody was going. I was just, it's phenomenal. Daniel Sprong kicking things off again. I mean, that's a story that will never go away, but for good reasons. And yeah, I mean, everybody, my boy Lars getting a goal, like everybody was involved. RJ, like they just couldn't stop scoring on Saros. They completely broke him.
I know, and as I pointed out toward the end of the game, this is the first game that UC Saros in his NHL career has allowed 7 goals. I mean, that's saying something against a goalie like him too. Out of, I think, almost 300 career games, this is the first time he's allowed 7. I mean, tip of the hat to him for going that long without it. But I mean, the Kraken got to a very good goalie in a way that no other team has over his career.
Yeah, no, and I mean, Nashville just. The defense broke in front of him. He was kind of broken by the end. It was just a lot. The Kraken was just this never-ending onslaught. I'm only looking down because I was just looking at Money Puck to see what was going on. First off, I've never seen the deserve to win meter so heavily favor one team the way it did the Kraken today. 89.6% on the deserve to win meter is crazy. But also I was looking at the shot chart for the Kraken, and you know what? This is a shot chart that we've really been waiting to see from them, which is just, we are focused on scoring goals in and around the crease. And I'll see if I can get this.
Yeah, put that up there.
Wait for their, I mean, look at the Kraken there in the blue. I mean, they're just, look at how many shots are there in the high danger sections. I mean, they were all about getting pressure to Saros, getting in Saros's face, try to get rebounds, try to get screens, all that good stuff. And it really worked. And we saw, I mean, when you play that way, this is what can happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they got rewarded by putting that pressure all to that spot. And you look at the Nashville side of it too, not a whole lot really anywhere. I mean, this is one of those rare games where the Kraken just put up a lot of pressure, on the other team's net, and then just give up almost nothing on their own.
Yep. A couple super chats here. First one from Schultz. Great to see the Kraken put up 7 on a quality goaltender. I mean, it feels really good to know that they can keep scoring in bunches like that. Absolutely. And then also from Leanne, big super chat there. Jared, it's a dance party, y'all. It is a dance party indeed. 7-2 dance party. Appreciate the super chats there. Really, really do. And yeah, I mean, Jared McCann at 40 RJ. I'm telling you, it's gonna get there. Gonna get there.
I know it's certainly in the cards. What, 5 goals to go? In how many games do they have left? Is it 10 or 9 that they have?
I think it would be 10 left now.
Okay, 5 goals in 10 games. That's certainly doable. And you get it would be 10 games left. So
yeah,
it could be in the cards. And man, how about that shot on his goal too. I mean, that is the trademark laser wrist shot. Saros didn't have a chance. It was by him before he could even track it.
Oh, absolutely. And he loves to do that too, where he's coming in, he's going to drift a little bit to, if you're the goaltender, he's going to be off on your right, but he loves to shoot left and kind of shoot across your body like that. And that's what he does on the power plays when he snipes from his spot, and that's what he went for here again, and it was just so beautiful. And that puck, the way it just hits the back of the net, just like it's almost like it zooms in and then it's just like soft because it's spinning perfectly. Like you love it. You absolutely love it. Going back to the chat here, Coop, also you saw Sprong time and goals, was like, no sir, talking about Maddie scoring there. I know it was good to see Maddie get back on the board. I mean, we talked about the rookie scoring race, guys starting to creep up on him a little bit there. Wasn't feeling good. We talked a lot about how great he's been playing, but usually it's in a two-way defensive kind of sense. So for him to get to the 50 points, get the 20 goals, I think that's a big deal. And it'll be a big deal for Calder voters as well to see him hit those kind of, significant milestones for a player. AL, a lot to celebrate. 40 wins, 20 Matty goals, and of course the Tolvi revenge game. Good momentum into the final regular season stretch. It is. I mean, this is the chance where if the Kraken can continue this momentum, this is the time to get hot as you approach the postseason. You know what I mean? Like it would be the good timing for that, RJ.
Definitely. I mean, that's what you're starting to look for at about 10 games out. That's really where that final stretch, that final segment really starts, and where you want to kind of hone in everything and make sure you're firing on all cylinders. And this could absolutely be the start of that too. And this also, it's a tough stretch the Kraken run on the road against some tough teams. All those 3 Dallas games are behind you. You go to Minnesota, that could be a tough game, but you look at coming out of that, you're playing a lot of, Anaheim, LA, Arizona, Vancouver, Arizona, Chicago, Arizona. It's just reading the schedule down. It does get a little bit easier. And so, if you can just keep that level of play going, you should be able to rattle off a lot of wins.
Yeah, no, for sure. CR Bud, Preds were force-fed some Tolvi today. That had to hurt. I mean, it must have felt so good for Eli Tolvanen to get a pair of goals in this one. I mean, you could tell that he was a little bummed about it the first game. Like, I think everybody was bummed that they weren't getting the offense that they wanted, but you could tell how bad he wanted it, how serious he was taking the game, how much he was trying to generate any chance he could for himself in and around the net, all that stuff. So for him to not only get the one goal, but then to also be there to get that second goal after Saros plays the puck out, blocks it with his body. It was a good effort play just to be down there to try to support Bjorkstrand in that kind of breakaway situation. And then to be able to clean up and get that second goal there. I mean, at that point, I was like, okay, the game is still close. Nashville gets another one later. I was like, all right, so we could be on hat trick watch with the empty net. Like maybe we'll see something like that. And then the Kraken just completely, blew the doors off the place late there. But yeah, I'm really, really happy for Tolvanen.
Yeah, me too. I mean, especially that second goal too. That's one where even in normal circumstance where it's not a revenge game, anything, your eyes get so wide when the goalie comes out like that. So you're thinking about the goal already, and to have the payoff to put it into the open net for second goal of the game. Yeah, you could tell he was thrilled with that. And after the first game, he wanted it. I'm just so happy for Eli Tolvanen too. And yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of things from Predators Twitter today, after posting the goal videos where, yeah, they're definitely disappointed to have lost him.
I was going to say, I mean, what must be going through their heads as they're seeing him up to 17 goals on this season? Like, playing phenomenal in a good way. I mean, being responsible defensively too, working hard on the forecheck. Like, I can't imagine Nashville fans are all too pleased to be seeing all that.
Well, it's one of those
in somebody
situations
else's
too, where again,
spot.
listening to the fans, it sounded like they didn't want him gone. Like they just wanted the
Yeah.
team to give him more of a chance and more ice time. So I do feel a little bad for them.
Yeah, just a little, but at the same
Just a
time, I
little.
mean, here we go. Let's go. But yeah, that does give him 15 goals in 38 games with the Seattle Kraken, which is a very impressive feat. Another super chat here from Duthin. Almost everything I could have asked for in a game. Woo! I agree. I mean, there was, like I said, there was a little bit at the beginning where I was like, all right, like, where's the top 6? They need to start getting going offensively at some point. We can't just keep relying on Daniel Sprong and the third line kind of thing. And then the power plays weren't fantastic. You get a ton of first period power plays, which is like any team's dream, and they weren't able to do too much. But outside of that, I mean, the rest of the game went exactly as you could, you would want to draw it up. Kraken not allowing shots. That's the big key right away. There's the one tough one for Grubauer. That's a big rebound. Nobody, it just happened to bounce out to a pred. That happens sometimes. Yeah, I mean, really the rest of the game, Kraken just had it on lockdown. They were just pouring shots on Saros, and then eventually that dam broke.
Yep, exactly. And as far as giving up nothing too, that's what I was most impressed by. I mean, they faced their first 5-on-5 shot on goal 21 minutes and change into the game. I mean, that's pretty darn good to give your goalie that. And I think the Preds didn't even have an unblocked shot attempt in the first period. So yes, they weren't doing as much as they could on the power play, but they were giving up nothing in the process.
Yeah, exactly. And that's partly to explain like this comment from Coop here. Really wish we could have get a 900 save percentage out of Gru, though. Not always going to be able to score 7. I mean, that is part of it when you do such a good job at limiting shots. It does then mean that anytime you get like a bad rebound chance like that one, or an insane tip like the Matt Duchene goal, it looks a lot worse on your goaltender's numbers just because they're not seeing like a ton of easy saves otherwise. And that's why we see the rough 875 save percentage for Grubauer. But I thought, despite the fact that he only got to see one shot through the first period, he did a great job of staying in the game and being there when the Kraken did need him.
Yeah, especially after having been out as long as he had been with an illness. That's one where you can easily get kind of rusty, especially if you're not seeing a lot of pucks. So we know that Grubauer had that problem a little bit last season, just at the start of games. And so for him to kind of get past that and just look really impressive the whole way through, I thought was a really good sign for the Kraken. And also you look at the expected goals, which I think are certainly more telling than the shots on goal in this one. According to Money Puck, 2.08 for the Preds. So, Grubauer doing about as expected there.
Yeah, exactly. Superfly, good win and very good response to that second goal by Nashville. Now let's take care of our final 10 games. I agree with that because I was worried. Less than a minute into the third period, you do get that Matt Duchene goal, and it's like, all right. I mean, Kraken have been playing pretty well here. I thought the second period was pretty even. Nashville did a good job responding after how bad they were in the first. And it was like, okay, Kraken, this is the time to show you're changing, you're gearing up for the playoffs, you're ready to go. And to their credit, they absolutely did. A couple minutes later, Adam Larson getting on the board, and then from there it just dominoes out.
Right. It can be demoralizing too. All that work you've put in, all that domination you do. And then at the start of the third period, more than 40 minutes in, it's a 1-goal game again. And you're one bounce away from it being tied. I mean, that's the kind of thing that can break the spirit of lesser teams. But the Kraken, I mean, the opposite of let it get to them. I mean, they went out and just, scored 4 more. So, I mean, great response there.
Oh, absolutely. Absurdly sane. I agree. That was so much fun. TBK, 3 out of 4 points in Nashville is good for our end of the season stretch. It is. And we, a lot of us talked about this in post-game chats. We talked about it on the deep dive. I mean, 3 out of 4 points coming out of this Nashville series. That was going to be the thing that was going to make us all kind of breathe easy about the Kraken's playoff chances at this point, because now, I mean, it's a big lead they've got over Nashville.
Yeah, it's a huge lead they have over the Predators now. It would take an epic collapse for the Kraken, and then even maybe some help there, with Nashville, for Nashville just doing really well against playoff teams. They've still got Boston, they still got Toronto on their schedule. It's going to be a tough go for them. I just don't see them, surpassing the Kraken at this point. We can pretty much book it for the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. A couple more super chats here. First one from Barbara. Just because this is the last post-game live I can watch live from the start of the season, you guys are awesome. This community rocks. Really appreciate it, Barbara. Glad you could join us for this one live. Really, really appreciate that. Always happy for all the post-game lives also when you just come in, give us the good morning. It's always fun.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
And then also from Sean here, 20 for Maddie. Number 20 gets 2 in his return. The dam broke and the milestones poured in. Done 60 points. Maddie 20 and 50. Most goals ever in front of Gru. Wow. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot to take in there from all of those, but I want to start with that last one. Most goals ever in front of Gru. Is that really, like, I believe that.
For the Kraken, yes, it's the
Yeah,
most goal support that they've given Philip Grubauer in a
good
game. I
for
tweeted
him.
that toward the end of the game. I was loving this game, by the way, for the reason that Sean outlined. There are so many milestones, so many narratives, so many storylines in this one too. I was looking up stats left and right throughout the whole game because it felt like somebody was hitting some cool stat at every point really during the game. So glad Sean saw that one too, and it's just such a fun game to watch, from that
Oh
perspective
yeah.
for me also. And thank you, Sean, for the super chat.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we talked about Maddie already. We talked about Tolvanen, but let's talk about Dunn getting to 60 points. I mean, that is an impressive milestone for a defenseman, much less a defenseman that we had a ton of questions about coming into the season.
Yeah, a lot of questions, and he's answered just about every one of them in the affirmative this season, with 60 points in 72 games. I mean, just that kind of production is something we haven't seen from him throughout his career. His previous career high was 35. I mean, that's a 25 point improvement over his best season, before that. So, I mean, he's just hit this other level of play, and hopefully he can keep that going forward. It is a contract year, but I wouldn't be surprised see this is just who Vince Dunn is. He's figured it
Oh,
out.
yeah, no, I totally agree. And we, the defense he's been able to provide and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it has been so fantastic. Just that contract's gonna be big, RJ. That's all I can say. It's gonna be very, very big, that extension this
Oh
offseason.
yeah.
I just want to hit this one up down here by the super chats too, just because I'm seeing it. I want to talk about
Yeah.
it from Michael. 20th 5-goal game for the Kraken this season. That's more than a quarter of all their games played. It's the night and day difference between last season and now. I mean, we know we've set the record now for biggest points increase for a team from season 1 to season 2 in franchise history. But yes, I mean the amount of goal scoring in particular, because that was something that just absolutely killed them last year. To see that improve by such leaps and bounds this year has just been nothing short of incredible.
And going into the offseason, that was kind of the number one priority for the Kraken and for Ron Francis, is just bring in some players who can score some goals. And they've done it in kind of some unorthodox ways. Yes, Andre Burakovsky, the big addition that everyone thought and knew would help, has helped.
Mhm.
But you're seeing contributions from guys like Ellie Tolvin and Daniel Sprong. Ryan Donato's done his part. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Like, it's amazing what they've been able to do just up and down the lineup. It has been this goal scoring by committee. And you've seen that just about every game that they put up 5+. It feels like it's not just one guy driving the bus on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jay in here reminding everybody to like the stream. Appreciate it, Jay. Ty, oh, so that's why they call it Smashville, lol. That's a dang it. Yeah, I mean, this game was pretty chippy at the beginning, RJ. And you know what? To the Kraken's credit, because this is something I talked about last time, where it felt like the Kraken were trying to match that physical energy with the Predators, and that maybe slowed down what they were able to do offensively. They didn't really let it get to them in this one. Instead, they took their power plays. They did get a goal on the power play thanks to Tolvanen. That was nice to see them at least get one. But they didn't do it this time. They didn't try to match Nashville hit for hit. They just said, you know what? We're the more skilled team, and we're just going to outskill you. And you see the difference in the scoreboard today versus the last game.
For sure, that's the right way to go about it. And I was a little worried about the Preds kind of trying to do that, muck the game up a little bit, especially after the first period, where at least score is still 2-0, but as far as possession and shots and everything, they're getting run out of their own building at home. I mean, that's one where you're going to try and muck things up a little bit and kind of change what the game is about. But the Kraken didn't take the bait. I think a good example of that was Brandon Tanev, as he gets run into by the bench, toward the end of the first period. Didn't do anything about it, just kind of let it go. And it wasn't a penalty called against Nashville, but that's the kind of thing you have to do. Keep your composure and just intimidate the other team that way.
Yep, definitely. Kraken did a fantastic job. Credit to the leadership group of the team and the coaching staff on that as well. Tammy, Tolvi Revenge, I'm so happy for sure. Habak, I love it when the Kraken remember they're a playoff team. It does feel nice. Joshua, I love the matinee games being in Virginia. It's the only time I get to watch the games with my son, other than once a year when they come to DC. Not the best record on matinees, but this one was fun. That makes me so happy, Joshua. Glad you and your son were able to enjoy the game there, and heck of a game to be enjoying together too. So really,
Oh,
really
for
happy to
sure.
see that one. Kaylin, I really hope someone from the Kraken picked up the salmon that someone threw on the ice. I did like the kind of mix of the two franchises, RJ, that, make fish and hockey go together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was cool to see. Yeah, the salmon instead of the catfish. And I think actually the Kraken after the game, they had a sign in the Preds arena, Smashville is like catfish better than Kraken, and they swapped the sign on it, that but yeah, no, the salmon are better. Do you
Yeah.
see the super chat from DJ Singletone?
Oh no, let me get down there.
We got one down here. I can read it.
Okay.
DJ Singleton, thank you for the super chat. I think ice time has been the catalyst for Vince. And I mean, that's certainly the thing that's changed the most as far as like an indicator of just the opportunity that he's gotten, being a clear first pairing defenseman all season. It's going to help you. I do think more other things have clicked in his game too, but the ice time, it allows you to have those more opportunities and to play those legit first pair situations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a big part of it. Just, whether it's just, more ice time equals more opportunities to score, a counting stat like a point, right? Like that helps it go up, but it's also about the extra reps that it's giving you. And it's about putting you in different situations. He's played a lot more on both special teams, it feels like, this year. And that's really helped him out. But yes, I mean, averaging over 3 minutes more this season than last season with the Kraken, I mean, it just shows how much faith the coaching staff is putting in Vince Dunn, and they truly do believe and see him as a first pairing defenseman who can be out there for all of that stuff. It is very, very good to see. CR Bud, that was special. Not really a must win, but you really need to beat them in regulation. Well done, lads. Goal support for Groovy makes me so emotional from Bach. Totally. Totally. Lonnie, always appreciate the Beacon Plumbing, John Forsland legend. That was a great call from him.
That was an awesome call. Forsland's been feeling it these last couple games. He's had a couple, really, really good calls, memorable calls that I'll even, turn to my girlfriend like, hey, listen to what Forsland said. This is great. So yeah, he's feeling it. I don't know what it is about Nashville, but he has a good time there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have a good time in Nashville. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like,
It's a popular road trip city for sure.
yeah, it's a fun place to be. It'd definitely get me excited if I was there. Christy, fantastic play today. Love to see it. Absolutely. Lindsay, it was a 1-goal game and I blinked. Yeah, that's basically what happened. I hope nobody had to do anything during that third period because you were coming back to something very different than what you left. Ty, also, since this seems to be working, Sprong is trash, lol. Why is it when I trash him, he goes bananas, lol? Tell me about it, Ty.
I know
the way I've been feeling all season.
Hey, you know what? He's motivated. Like that's what it took coming into the season on a PTO. I mean, when you think Daniel Sprong can't do it, that's when he's got to show you. And he's 1 goal away from the 20-goal mark. And of course, Jeff Merrick on it when he scores the goal early in the game too. He's Jeff Merrick's favorite player, it seems like.
I know. It's absolutely wild. Rebecca, well, I'm having fun. Definitely. CJ, great way to start the weekend. It is. This is what we talked about. You know what? Right? Like we start this, and at least for us on the West Coast, like we get to then go have the second half of our Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I know I'm gonna carry this forward for the rest of the day for sure. X Kid Z, the crack attack is back, Jack. Glad to see Beniers getting back to his Calder ways and Tolvanen getting his first multi-goal game against the Predators. I mean, it is fun, and that is the one thing we didn't mention with Tolvanen is getting that first multi-goal game against the former team. That's got to be really sweet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another career milestone for him. And it's that sign of growth, right? The multi-goal game and showing, that he can harness that shot in that way. And Nashville got to see it up close.
Yeah, Coop, Matty back up to a 9-point lead on McTavish for the rookie scoring race. That's good to see. Kraken Hawks. Somebody on Reddit posted that the Kraken must have found their Costco card in the third because they're bringing the goals in bulk. Lol, it's so true. That is fantastic. Good on
that
whoever
is great.
Posted that.
Yeah,
that is great, and thank you for bringing it to us, Kraken Hawk. TBK. Oh shoot, first 40-win season. Let's go.
Oh yeah, this win number 40.
I mean, I'm double checking, but that lines up. Yeah, it is 40, 24, and 8.
Wow.
Here we go.
Amazing.
That's really impressive. That is really impressive. I mean, we've talked about so many milestones already, but like that's a huge team one. That's a huge franchise first for them to have a 40-win season. I mean, that's that is fantastic. I mean, just the fact that we seem, I don't even know if it's possible for us to not be above 500 this season, but it's like I said earlier, it's just so great how they've been able to rebound this year from last. Rebecca Yeetfish was the cherry on top. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Um, CJ, chances of us seeing Joey D up here again for the playoffs, probably small. Given that they sent him back down once Grubauer was healthy, that tells me they really want him to be a part of the Coachella Valley, playoff push.
Yeah, I think so. And also Coachella Valley, they've kind of struggled since sending Joey Decord up to Seattle. They've had a few losses come in a row, and I think they could probably use him back. It just helps to have their goalie there. And also losing Jesper Froden and John Hayden has been tough on them too. So I think they probably want Joey down there for a run. But again, if Martin Jones, he's going to have to play some games down the stretch. If he continues to falter, it's going to be something that's going to be talked about.
Oh, it will be for sure. Side quest achieved from Striatic here. Stop Evangel. I was practicing it so much already,
Okay.
RJ.
You got this, Dylan. I believe in
you. I
you.
can do that. Evangelista.
Yes, very good.
I did it. From scoring, and both Sprong and McCann scored 5v5. Canner coming for the crown. I mean, the Kraken are really just going to just monopolize the top of that 5v5 goals per 60 leaderboard, RJ.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that'd be cool to get McCann and Sprong 1-2. If McCann hits 40 by the end of the season, maybe you could do it.
I think he could. Let's see. Coop, just imagine this team scoring 7 goals last year. Impossible.
All season, it felt like.
Right. And also Coop with the smell you later, Lauzon. I know.
He and Tanev were barking at each other again in this one. I mean, it might have boiled over if not for the clever work of Eric Furlat there, breaking it up in a way only he knows how to do.
Yep. It is pretty funny. Like I had no idea there was so much there between those two guys.
Yeah, no clue.
Let's see. Nick nearly cried at the Beniers goal. Lol. He needed it so bad and hit that 20 goal mark. I'm right there with you. Like, I was so happy to see it. You could tell how excited he is. It's unfortunate that like the last 3 goals he scored, RJ, he's had to be so pumped up and fired up about it because they've come, so spread out from each other. I would really love if he could just kind of carry this forward and get some more in the next couple games.
Yeah, and not to mention the goal that he thought he scored for number 20 that I guess got tipped by Jordan Eberle later in the play and then was recredited to Eberle too. It's good for him to get one that he knows is going to be his 20th. And you see the celebration after that goal too. Like he is pumped up.
Yeah. Even the refs don't like Lauzon. Lol, glad no one got seriously hurt. Now we can laugh about that weird moment Lindsay saying. So yeah. And then Edward, goal challenge failed, give up a power play, punishing mistakes with goals to put away a game late. Things that are nice to see the Kraken on the positive side of for a change. Very true. Very true, Edward. Stratic saying Natural Stat Trick has McCann retaking the active player 5v5 goals per 60 lead. So that is cool to see.
Ooh, okay.
Superfly, first ever 40 win season for the Kraken and first ever 20 goal season for Maddie. Feels good, and going 5-5 would probably be enough to make the playoffs. I agree with that. I think I don't know what the math exactly would be for the Kraken to have to make, to get the playoffs and kind of clinch that, but I'm with you. 5-5 would probably be enough.
Yeah, I think that would certainly get it done.
Yeah. Jay, it's too early. Dylan is still sleeping. Nah, I'm the early riser of the two of us. Just
oh yeah,
let everybody know.
For sure.
I'm only wearing this because I was out running and walking with Afra earlier before the game. First multi-goal game in Ellie's career. The Kraken have scored at least 1 point in every game at Nashville since ever from Brian. I mean, Nashville, we talked about it, RJ. It's a fun place for people to go on road trips. Kraken certainly agree.
Yeah, definitely. They love it there, and good thing they don't get too distracted by the fun times you can have too. Just listen to some good music and go win some hockey games.
Yeah. Joshua, does Tolvanen get the hat for this? I have to imagine he will.
I would think so. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if he doesn't, then it's going to Maddie just for hitting some of those milestones, I would think. But otherwise,
who currently has it?
Well, that's a good question. Who got it in Dallas back the other day?
It was Larson, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Larson.
Yeah, so it would be Larson giving it to somebody. I mean, I just know all those players in the locker room know for the most part, what it feels like to go up against a former team and to be able to score 2 on them like that, get your first multi-goal game. Like there's, that seems like enough of a reason to give it to Tolvanen for me anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Watch them give it to Tanev just for talking trash to Lauzon.
Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
fine too. Edward Kraken making the Preds look like kittens in the third. Oh, they really, really did. Harley Kraken, my kind of hockey game. Preds crowd up there with the Kraken crowd. Loud energy makes a difference. Glad to have the house to myself. Yells, whoop, very often. Lol, grew. For sure. And how about how fast that arena emptied out, RJ, as things
Oh
got,
yeah.
out of hand there in the mid third period.
Yeah, I mean, you've still got, what is it? It's about what, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock local time.
Yeah.
They go enjoy your evening. You don't want to see all that.
Yep. An explosion of goals out of nowhere was nice to see from DJ Singleton for sure. TBK plays. Who were the 3 stars tonight? I hope Ellie got the first one for pettiness reasons.
I was wondering about that. Do you think the Nashville media, though, they would actually
They
would
did.
actually
So
name Tolvanen the first star? They did. He did.
yes, Tolvanen first star, McCann second star, Bjorkstrand third star. Those are your 3 stars for the game.
All
So
right.
it was, yes, they knew what they were doing. They did.
Nice.
The Groovy goal support tonight was fantastic from Milo there. I'm going to read that comment every time I see it because I just think it's important to bring up. Kraken Octolvia is making up for the loss of Berkey so far. Imagine if Ron didn't take him off waivers. I don't want to. Things would be very different, I feel like, for the Kraken.
Don't want to think about that.
Yep. Lindsay, question for both y'all. What do you hate more, a team scoring a goal against us in the first minute of a period or the last minute of a period? Personally, I dislike it if it's in the last minute of a period, because then you got to go and you got to, well, one, that could technically mean the third period, in which case we're probably not winning or something really bad is going down. It also means you have to go and you have to sit with it for 15, 20 minutes, not being able to do anything about it. If it's right at the beginning of a period, you can go out there and you can try to change what just happened. You can make up for that. You can put your frustration from that. You can channel that into your play. Can't do that if it's at the end of a period.
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. I'm going to agree, and for pretty much all the reasons you said, you want to be able to go and do something about it. If you get scored on early in a period, at the end of a period too, I mean, it can give other teams momentum too, especially if you have a lead and the other team's trying to claw back momentum that they can try and transfer into the next period. I don't like that.
Yeah, agreed. Stratic, should Hackstall be making the team walk through the rain in their equipment to every practice?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, for those who saw that video, the Kraken had to do that the other day in Nashville for practice, going back to the old, junior, even before junior hockey days where you had to walk out to the bus. I don't know if it's something you might want to continue. I mean, if you get in a slump, maybe try it.
I was gonna say, I mean, you played in Seattle anyway. You've got the opportunities to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Well, normally speaking, is weather getting back to normal Seattle up there, RJ? I mean, we've been sunny down here for 2 days in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think overcast today, mostly from what I've seen. I've been inside watching the game most of the day, but it's been overcast. But looks like we're gonna get some more sun over the next week or so.
Okay, sounds good. Super chat here from Lonnie for Maddie Calder Beniers. Really appreciate it, Lonnie. And yes, I mean, that's the other one I'm going to keep reading is just all the love for Maddie Beniers getting the 20 goals on the season. I mean, it's such a big deal. And to do that in your first full season too, it's really, really awesome. Really happy for him. Lindsay, thoughts on right wing Morgan Geeky? Oh, you're coughing. I kind of liked it, because Morgan Geeky brings interesting things to a lineup, and I feel like putting him on a wing where he doesn't have to worry about some of the same responsibilities of being a center, it freed him up to kind of be in and around the net and be a pest and be somebody that the Nashville defense had to kind of swarm to, and opened up some time and space for somebody like a Daniel Sprong who could be very dangerous when he's given that opportunity.
Yeah, I think it freed him up to do things he wouldn't otherwise do. It felt like he was more get or shoot the puck in this one, whereas normally centering that fourth line, he knows what his job is. He's got scorers around him. He doesn't need to do that. And also, as Allison pointed out before the game, pairing him up with a playmaker like Alex Wenberg, who will pass the puck a lot, and Geeky has a good shot. He just doesn't really get the opportunity to unleash it very often. If he can change his mindset that way, which I think maybe in the beginning of the game he didn't, but kind of as the game started going on, he
Mhm.
started to get used to that new role again, which is tough to kind of get yourself out of the mindset of where you usually play. But I think he adjusted pretty well.
Right, and yes, you talk about shooting the puck more. 4 shots on goal for him, tying the team lead alongside McCann and Tolvanen for this
Yeah,
one. So, yeah,
he
we definitely
understood the
saw.
assignment.
Yep, he did. I love to see it. Anytime Morgan Geekie gets to, be to shine a little bit, I'm always in favor of it. Superfly seems that Hackstall timeout early in the season against the Blues has worked out for Dunn. It really has. I mean, that has been like career changing for Vince Dunn. That timeout in that game where he kind of got called out, singled out a little bit for the play. He has been on fire ever since. And we talked about the contract. RJ, he's gonna be seeing a lot of money based on his play for the majority of this season. I mean, maybe he's got to, get buy Hackstall a little bit of a gift or something for that one.
I guess so. I can't recall a time we've seen that where thanks for calling a timeout and just calling me out on my play. Really turned things around that season and earned millions more dollars. So I'll buy you lunch.
Yeah, yeah. Buy you lunch, a watch, car, something. Just something. Uh, Jen, is it wrong? I kind of want to see Borgs versus Lauzon. I don't think so. I think that would probably be a good one. Those guys, they seem like they'd match up well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
do you know if Berkey is on the road trip? Is he traveling with the team?
I don't know offhand if he is. No, I haven't seen him on any of the team videos or anything, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't
I
know if
don't.
he's on the road trip.
I don't know either. Joey asking when he's coming back as well. I
Don't know. Yeah, we'll see him practice with the team before he comes back. So that's kind of the next milestone that he needs to hit. And
Mhm.
of course, when he practices with the team again, you will hear about it everywhere. If you follow us on any kind of social media,
Yes.
you will hear about that. So we will tell you.
It will be the biggest of news. Lindsay, I was worried about Grew being cold after coming back from illness and then only getting 1 shot on goal, but super happy he proved me wrong and came up huge on that breakaway, huge turning point. It was because that was a time, RJ, where when the Predators get that breakaway, I was just like, oh, here we go. Like, this is the Kraken. They're going to be the Kraken, and we're going to end up in like overtime or something again. But Grew gave him nothing to work with, and he eventually kind of had to pull wide. I think Gru like made technically a save with the pad there, but really, I mean, he gave that Predator just no chance of getting anything done.
Right. It was all about angles, and Grubauer didn't bite on the move
Mhm.
too. And that's what it's all about: is making sure that the forward or the player on the breakaway moves before you do. Because if you flinch first, he's going to take advantage of that, go right around you. And Grubauer was just solid and patient there.
Yeah. Barbara saying about Burakovsky, he was posting on Instagram about Swedish hockey games from his own sofa, it seemed. So probably not on the road then,
Yeah.
unfortunately. 6-4 in the last 10 to get to 100. It's happening from Daniel. I mean, that is very close to that 5-5 number we were talking about. And yeah, I mean, 6-4, you only got to be one game above 500. That's,
Oh yeah. You
not
can
too
do that.
difficult. Yeah. Rebecca, they did pick up the fish. You could see someone carrying it in triumph as they walked back to the locker room. Oh, thank you, Rebecca, for throwing that in there.
And
Love it.
actually, the Kraken tweeted a photo of Philip Grubauer holding it.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
great.
Oh, sweet. I loved it. I love that. Milo, what are the odds Canner gets to 40 this season? There's They're not like 0, that's for sure, but they're probably not above 50% either. I would
No,
give him maybe, you know what? Whatever his shooting percentage is right now, like 25%.
I
That's
was
what I'm
just
giving him.
thinking that. Yeah, 20 something percent, whatever it is.
It was 20 coming into this game, but it might go up a little from this one. So 20 to 25% range,
Yeah.
probably. Can we call a fourth line goal a depth charge from Kyle? Oh, that
Oh,
is
I like
good.
that.
I
I
like
like
that.
that.
Working on the themes of the Kraken and everything. I really like that, Kyle. That's a good one. We can try to get that going. Um, Lindsay, the Forsland where to stick your click and confusion over clicking versus scanning the QR code had me in stitches.
That was great. That was really funny. My mom actually texted me about that at the time, said that was really funny. She got a kick out of that one.
It is so good. It is so good. Let's see, Lindsay. Groovy got the plush salmon. It looks so happy. Oh my heart. There we go. So more love about that. I love it. Patrick woke me up even Even though there was an early game, I got to watch it. Nice way to wake up. Yes, I mean this is a fantastic way to start the Saturday. Like we talked about. Good one to watch. Have some brunch, RJ. Start it off. Watch some hockey. Like it's a nice way to like live life. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I had some eggs, bacon, and toast during the game. It was
There you
great.
go. See, this is what we need. Lonnie, Nashville brought a Fanatics level of play to today's game. Oh my gosh, I love that. If that can become like a thing, not just here within ECH land, but league wide. Whenever anybody does something like bad, instead of a dang it, we call it a Fanatics. That would be incredible. If that got going before their deal even kicked in and started, that would be just phenomenal.
I would like that. That'd be great.
That would be so funny. Um, let's see. From Leaf here. Sharks have erased a 0-2 deficit in Calgary and now lead 3-2. So that's good for the other team kind of
And it's
trying to.
gone. It's
Oh,
tied
okay.
now.
Yeah, well, it is the Sharks after all this season, and Kings leading Winnipeg at the moment. But that is good for the other team, kind of chasing the Kraken for one of those wild card spots. Coop, I can't believe how close Lauzon's skate blade was to Tanev's face. That screenshot you put on Twitter is terrifying. It's one of those things that never ceases to amaze me, RJ, is that like there isn't more bad stuff. And we've seen a couple scary moments this season around the NHL, but it is wild to think about. As Dan Lebatard would say on his radio show, hockey's the craziest sport because they're all skating around at 30 miles per hour with knives on their feet. And it's true. Like we don't think of it, but it's true.
Right, and I'm surprised to see how often the skates get up that high too. Usually when a player is checked or even just upended kind of in any way, those skates get higher than you'd think, and it's amazing how infrequently they manage to really cut someone bad. But it's a scary moment too, seeing how high Lauzon's leg gets there. It's like right up on Tanev's face. I hate to see it.
Yeah, no, it's always scary. Gary, Kraken could be 2 points behind the Oilers by the end of the day. I mean, they are, RJ. They're staying alive for that third spot in the Pacific. I still don't know that I'd give them again positive odds of getting there. But I mean, the longer they can hang around in that space, I mean, we talked about it. We both agree that's a much better spot to be in than being one of the two wild card teams. So, yeah, I appreciate that, and I will definitely be rooting against the Oilers.
Oh, for sure. No, I think it would be a better spot to be in, and they're not out of it yet. I mean, they're kind of more like 3 points back because the Oilers are going to have the tiebreaker. So if they're tied in
Mhm.
points, it's going to go to Edmonton. But it's not out of the question completely.
No, it's not, and I love that. Super chat here from JMG. Hate to say it, but gotta root for Vegas tonight against Edmonton. Yeah, but
For
that
sure. I
is
mean,
what it
those
would
2 points
take.
Vegas gets, that's not hurting Seattle. Like, look, the Kraken aren't catching Vegas. That's just
Yes.
the reality of it. So you might as well root for the Edmonton loss.
Definitely, definitely, and thanks for the super chat there, JMG. Thanks to everybody for the super chats today. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Lindsay, traveling Seattle fans are going to make the reverse yeet a thing where our fans throw a plush salmon on the ice after road wins. I would love to see that, RJ. That would be so cool.
I know that'd be great. I can't like really fully endorse it because I feel like you might get in trouble for that sometimes, depending on which venues, are cooler about it than others. But that would be pretty cool.
If it's at the end of the game, they're just gonna kick you out. They're not gonna like charge you with anything, right? Like I don't know. I think that's one of those things that if the Kraken fan base became known for that, you know how jealous other fan bases would be, like because that's something that anytime there's a nationally televised game, anytime Seattle goes into Toronto, right, they're gonna talk about it and they're gonna talk about Seattle fans and how passionate they are, and that's why I really want it to happen.
That's true. It's just somehow it has to stay with just one because it gets to be a problem when like when like 30 or 40 people all bring their fish and toss them onto the ice after the game.
Yes, well, here we go, RJ. You
Just
know what?
organize beforehand,
I was gonna
decide
say,
who the one person is going to be who's going to throw it.
If we need to organize somebody who's going to have to just kind of go on the road and follow the team so that they can yeet the fish down to the team and do all that stuff and get kicked out of arenas at the end of the night, I am willing to make that sacrifice for everybody. If we all want to like coalesce and try to make that happen, I'm willing to make that sacrifice for the Kraken, I think.
Should we set a separate goal on the Patreon for just Dylan
Yes.
to travel and throw and eat a fish after every road game?
Yes, that would be sweet. Kalen, the Preds had a ceremony to unveil a statue of Pecorine before this game. Ouch! It unfortunate timing.
Yeah, on Pecorine night. That you see Saros too. Lots in the most goals of his career in that one.
Yeah, not great, but love to see them honoring the franchise legend Pecorine.
Oh yeah, gotta love
Definitely,
Pecorine.
definitely. Light with the super chat here. I knew after Thursday that the Kraken could blow the Preds out. Glad my super chat was correct a few days ago. Was indeed Light. You called it. You
Oh yeah,
deserve the
totally.
credit.
You called it.
Yep. That's some good stuff. Let's see. The entire bench was chirping Lauzon at one point. Loved it from TBK for sure. X Kid Z just saw the picture of Groovy with the fish on the Kraken Twitter. Must be nice to be on the receiving end of a yeeted fish for once. I'm sure, like you think he's gonna keep it? Probably.
I think so. I could see, like, knowing him, most players would be like, no, they're just gonna give it back to PR. I could see Groove keeping it.
Yeah. Ty saying dumped rain on me last night when I played at KCI. Snowed last time. They can get wet easy for sure. Like I said, if they want to, they can do it. They'll find a way. TBK, I think 15 points is technical math for us to clinch, but realistically, we probably only need to go 400, 500 rest of the season. That definitely seems right to me. I'm not going to keep an eye out on the Oilers game, praying they don't win. I don't want to face Ottinger in his playoff form. 1,000% agreed. 1,000%.
Oh, yeah.
CR Bud with the super chat. RJ, just get Berkey to throw the fish. Best ever at it, lol.
Totally. He was a legend with that yeet, sending it, I think I counted like 20 something rows back. I mean, it was really impressive. And look, he's not doing anything else right now. He's just on his couch watching hockey. Bring him on the trip to eat the fish.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and because we know he's so good at it, he could be sitting up there with Ron Francis. You know what I mean? And he'll find a way to get it down there.
Right. That's right. It'll land on the ice and they'll be looking for fans like, wait, who did this? Who did this? They'll never suspect anyone in the press box.
Well, and even if they do, they find video evidence. What are you going to do? Kick one of the players out of the arena? You can't do that. They're not going to do that.
You can't do that.
It's the perfect plan. We figured it out. Thank you, CR Bud, for the super chat. CR Bud with another question in here. Are the Kraken salmon available for purchase?
No, they're not. And that's something that the Kraken, that was an intentional decision. They wanted it to be a special thing that you kind of only get from the player yeets. No, I don't believe you can purchase them.
Yeah. And that makes sense to me, trying to keep it kind of like a special thing there. Play more disc golf. I'm down with that. With the way Sprong has been playing, what do you think about moving him to the Wenberg line? I kind of like that idea, RJ.
Interesting. I mean, I think there's definitely the elements that could work with it. Wenberg, of course, being the noted distributor that we know he is. Although I do think Sprong is kind of more of a north-south player, and that like Wenberg's east-west type of distribution game might not match up the best with him. But I don't think it'd be a bad decision. But then again, I just don't like what it does to the fourth line. You're taking him off the fourth line, and we know that works.
Yeah, we do know that works. Maybe, yeah. No, I was gonna say, well, maybe if Berkey comes back, but then what? You're gonna stick Berkey on the fourth line? That makes no sense. Yeah, I don't know, but it does make sense also with like Jaden Schwartz, because Schwartz is gonna kind of clog up things defensively. He'll help provide time and space for Sprong. I don't know. I kind of like it because you know what? It would be like true prove it time for Daniel Sprong too.
Well, see, that's why it would never happen, is because Hackstall would actually have to give him real minutes, because that line plays, 18, 19 minutes a game. And I don't think that the Hackstall could possibly do that. You got to keep that scoring, 5-on-5 scoring per 60, stats up. So that could be risky.
Good point. That's a good point. Lonnie, has anyone considered calling Sprong the Flying Dutchman? Yes. I mean, we started that last year. We had a shirt, I think.
Yeah, we even had a shirt for a limited time. And that was back last year when we were like, oh, he's a fourth liner that was a throw in for a trade. No one's ever going to really, support him like that. But no, I mean, he showed us.
Yeah. Declan, I heard I missed a good game. You did. I'd recommend going and checking out the highlight package, on NHL.com in the
Yep.
NHL app. You'll be happy with it, for sure. Superfly, nice stat. Thanks to tonight's win, the Kraken have set an NHL record for largest points improvement of an expansion team from season 1 to season 2 since the original 6 era. I mean, yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's just they're just crushing it right now, and I'm so happy for everybody too, for all of us, that were in here doing these post game lives last year through a lot more losses than wins. It's been a heck of a journey.
Yeah, for sure. And I was actually watching, I went to our post game live playlist from last season as I was working on the website. And it took me to the second ever game, the one against Nashville, their first ever win. And I watched just a few minutes of that post game live. And man, just the difference in the things we were talking about versus now. I mean, even as excited as we were over the win, we saw some of
Yeah.
the mistakes. We're like, well, let's just hope that doesn't become a more permanent thing. And it really
Yeah.
did that season.
Mhm.
But it just feels so great to move past that.
Definitely. Schultz, do you think a Kraken player will get a hat trick before the end of the season? So right now, the Kraken so far this season, only one hat trick from Jared McCann back on January 14th against Chicago in that 8-5 ridiculous game. But
Yeah.
we had a great time at the watch party with everybody. Um, I do think that we're gonna probably see another one because we've gotten really close here these last couple of weeks, RJ, a couple times. I think at some point, like law of averages says, somebody's gonna find that elusive third goal.
I think so. And I mean, if I had to pick a game, I might go either one of the Arizona games or Anaheim, their return home.
Mhm.
They're playing against some teams that I could see surrendering a hat trick.
Yeah, or any game that's just going to be close, you get an empty netter. Again, like in this one, Tolvanen in a different world where the Kraken decide not to just, break poor UC Saros like that. Tolvanen could have been out there for an empty netter and gotten it tonight. So there's lots of
Yep.
opportunities to do it still. I think though, because so many guys have been getting close, I believe it'll happen. Gruby has to keep the fish to commemorate his most ever goal support lol from Lindsay. Definitely. Just put
That's
it
his
in a
goal
place to
support
honor.
lucky charm. Just hang on to that and
Yep.
hope the team scores more for you.
Yep. Gary, press max points are 102. Kraken have 88. Magic number is 7. Okay, there we go. Appreciate that. Let's see. Good to know. And then don't mess with Sprague's deployment from Striatic. Also from Striatic. McCann, though, you can make an argument he actually needs some more 5-on-5 minutes somehow. Somehow. I mean, he's playing on the top line. I don't know how else you could get him more. And the bottom line is in Dave Hackstall's, coaching world, it's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to get significantly more than anybody else. And coming in, McCann's second amongst ice time leaders today amongst forwards.
Right. Well, I am curious to see if that changes come playoff time, because this is something that happens around the league where you'll see guys get much more ice time, the stars, than you usually would, and to the point where it can sometimes be just ungodly amounts of ice time. You're having forwards, approaching 25, 26 minutes in certain playoff games. So I do wonder if we see a little bit of an uptick from Haxtell
Yeah.
once playoff time comes around. I wouldn't expect it before that, though.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Sergeant Pickles here with the super chat. At work, only saw highlights, but mother of God, that was a butt whooping. Studs, Tolvanen, Canner, Lars, Duds, the artist formerly known as Nashville. Oh, appreciate it. Hope you're having an okay time at work, Sergeant Pickles, but appreciate you joining us here towards the end of post game live and for the super chat. Really, really do. That is good. Artist formerly
Yeah.
known as Nashville.
Had
I
to get
love
the
it.
studs and duds in for sure. I was worried we
Yep.
might not get them.
Definitely. Donato with a point again in a game after a scratch again. I mean, it's been a kind of a for sure thing for Kraken players this season, RJ, right? You come back in after being a scratch, you start playing well. Happened with Tolvanen too. Remember everybody when we first got him, it was like, when is he gonna get into a game? And then he started scoring right away. It's all I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought about scratching Maddie just for a game, just to try to get it going, work that magic a little bit for Maddie there when McTavish was really kind of racing to catch up to him.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know if I'd go that far, but again, it's tempting looking at the results. Like it really is. And
Yeah.
Donato, this is the second game in a row. Well, second, game off of a scratch in a row where he has a point, in the first game coming off a scratch, which
Yeah.
is really cool. This is it's just so motivating knowing you better perform if you want to stay in the lineup. And it's a tough deal for some of these bottom 6 players, knowing that the standard has to be that high, but it does bring out the best in everyone.
Oh, for sure. Another super chat here from Kitty B Kraken, 20 for Maddie's 20th and one step closer to Calder. I mean, definitely appreciate it, Kitty B Kraken. And yeah, I mean, like I said, those milestones mean something to Calder voters. 20 goals means something, especially if he's going to be like the only rookie to get there. That means something. And 50 points as well is a big deal. And then another super chat here as well from Glode, I guess, Matt Connell. Finally, Maddie scored. Love this team. Where do you think we will be in the draft? So obviously, it's not going to be as high as the Kraken are used to picking in the draft. Not going to be able to score. Matty Beniers second overall, Shane Wright fourth overall.
32.
I mean, I would love to say 32, RJ. I don't know that we'll quite be in that spot. Probably, figuring like a, first round, second round exit maybe for the Kraken, given where they're at this year and being a wild card team. But that can still, keep you, there's a chance late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, that's probably about where they're looking. And I mean, if you look at it right now, let's say, the higher seeded team won in every series, in the playoffs. We know that's not how it always ends up working. But if that's what ends up happening, the Kraken would have the 21st pick right now. So probably in that range, give or take a few picks.
Yep. And in this year's draft class, that's not a bad thing at all. Like there is some.
You are going to get a real quality player. Yeah. Anywhere in the top 40.
Definitely. Let's see. I really dig the depth charge idea, Matt. I didn't think of it from CR, but I know it was a good one. Absurdly saying, seriously, Tanev, Geeky, Sprong should be sacrosanct by now. Yeah, all right, everybody, you're all right. I'll give up that point. I will. Sergeant Pickles, 25 long minutes left. Good news is that I'm time and a half today. Oh, good for you, Sergeant Pickles. There you go, for sure. Stratic, maybe a quick Shane Wright prospect update while there's a bunch of people on the stream. Yeah, I mean, Shane Wright is absolutely killing it at the OHL level. Got traded to the Windsor Spitfires when the Kraken sent him back down. Windsor Spitfires decimated by injuries. Thankfully, not to Shane Wright, although he actually has missed some time
for a bit.
Them. Yeah, for a bit it was him. Right now, he's been helping keeping them afloat. He's been having to focus on the defensive stuff, but let me tell you, when he decides to play defense, like especially in that league, just nobody can do anything against his teams, and he is so good at turning that defense around into offensive chances for the Spitfires. And I'm hoping now the Spitfires are getting back to like they actually have a full lineup. RJ, they were able to field a full group of skaters yesterday, I believe, for the first time in a couple weeks. That's how bad their injury issue has been. They were down to 10 forwards for a while there. I'm hoping Shane Wright then can start, not having to completely carry a team that is tired from having to play way more minutes than they should, and he'll be able to unleash the offense here, because it's just anytime you watch him, RJ, he is so much better than anybody else out there on the ice at the OHL level. He is so NHL ready. I mean, next season's going to be so much fun to watch him with the Kraken.
Yeah, and that point really gets driven home too. As I watched your Patreon prospect chat, you always do a great job on those and pointing out all the different elements of Shane Wright's game and why he is just so much better and so much more mature in a lot of ways too than a lot of the players he's playing against. And I'm excited to see what he can do in the playoffs, in the OHL playoffs, and how they utilize him in those playoff series. It's going to be really interesting.
It will be for sure. So thanks for that question, Stratic. I like that. Lindsay, the Kraken have 10 draft picks this upcoming draft. Looks like another deep draft too. Good thing Ron didn't throw away picks on meh trades. Yeah, I mean that was the thing. We talked about it. We didn't want a rental. It didn't seem to make sense for this team this year. So unless you're adding a piece for the future as well, keep all those draft picks in a deep draft class, especially given how early so many of those draft picks are this year, RJ. Talking about a ton of those being first and second round picks.
Yeah, and Ron Francis has said, in his opinion and the opinion of his scouting staff, this is the deepest draft class the Kraken will have participated in. So he said, it was funny. He's like, no offense to our already drafted prospects, but this draft class is probably the best that we've been in or we will be in. So they think highly of it. And that's kind of the sentiment around the entire league. So to have 10 picks in that class is going to be huge.
Yes, for sure. Pablo, great game. It was Pablo. And then Superfly responding to Lindsay there. Yeah, the Kraken have the flexibility and could also move up a bit if they wanted. Also, I'd go for a forward in the first round unless Reinbacher somehow falls. Yeah, I mean, that is the other benefit of having that many picks in a draft, RJ, is say there is somebody that you want there and it's a little ways before you're going to be able to pick. Just bundle some picks and move up, get the player you want. I am always in favor of teams drafting the player they believe in that they want. I am always going to be in favor of bundling picks to move up for those kinds of situations.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the math on it and the results, the analytics are a little bit mixed. But again, if you have a real good feeling about it, I know Dylan, you former scout, you trust the scouting staff,
Yes.
and I think if you're the Kraken scout, if it's their scouting staff, you have good reason to trust them too.
Right.
Maybe other teams not as much, but again, the Kraken have such a good scouting staff, such a good analytics staff, and focusing on the amateur scouting side of it as well.
Mhm.
I'm just excited to see what they can do. And if you need to move up to get someone, you've got the ammo, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Kraken draft well already, so we know that they're capable of doing it, and that's why I trust them maybe more than others. It's a conversation that closer to draft time I would love to have on something, maybe bring in some other voices on it because I think, there is so many stories and we know and there are still teams in the NHL that do not properly fund out things for the draft at all, whether it's analytics departments or scouting staffs. Like there are just teams that will have one person go to Europe for 4 weeks and that's it. You know what I mean? And I feel like they skew all the draft statistics and any way of viewing draft stuff. I think those teams kind of skew it all. So in a case like the Kraken, where you have a decent amount of scouts and you have the analytics working with them and all that stuff, I'm always in favor of a team like that that has put in the money and the effort into making sure they can make those calls correctly. I'm in favor of them doing whatever it takes to get the players they want.
For sure.
I
And
will
the Kraken have
rephrase to
definitely,
that.
yeah, invested in that. They've got 4 European scouts. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got a robust scouting staff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. All right, so that's it. Bring on the wild test from Schultz there. Absolutely. Yes, it's going to be a good one seeing them go up against that Minnesota Wild team, another kind of potential playoff primer for them. I mean, technically Wild could end up, you know, leader of the Central Division, winner of the Central Division, and we could see them in the playoffs. So I am looking forward to that one. And then also after this one, just seeing if the Kraken can carry forward all this scoring momentum, all that kind of good stuff. So,
Against a
yeah,
really good
looking
goalie,
forward
which
to
they're
it.
going to need to do against Minnesota, no matter who's in net.
Exactly, exactly. So it's going to be a good one. Thanks to everybody for joining us today. Thanks to everybody who gave us super chat. And we will see you all next time.